So today let us discuss about bank groups. So here we have one as bank groups. So in the cash and bank management under setup only, you can see bank groups here. So if I click on bank groups, so I can see it's an empty form here. We can create some bank groups. So bank groups is that particular configuration on which basis you are going to group the banks. So normally in business, we might have bank accounts like SBI Bank, ICICI Bank accounts, or depending on, I mean, if we can have multiple accounts in each bank, that is normal. Suppose if I have 4 accounts in ICICI, I'll say that 4 of those bank accounts belong to ICICI group. I can create a bank group as so. Or like if I have 2 accounts in SBI, I say that those 2 accounts fall into SBI group, or they are of the same bank and kind of same nature, you can say. So that's how I can create my bank groups. So I'll click on new here, create a bank group as ICICI, and I'll just give the name as ICICI Bank Group. So I can save it. So that would be sufficient for creating a bank group, but I have some details in the menu. Well, let's see what are they. Routing number is what I have. So you can give a routing number. Routing numbers are famous in other countries like US and European countries, but in India we don't generally have routing numbers. We have unique codes called as IFSC codes and all, but routing numbers are not popular in India. So you can give routing number if you want to here in this place. So routing number again depends. I mean, here as you can see below, routing number type. If I say none means I don't give anything. But if I have any other selection here, suppose AT, BL, CC. So these are different types of routing numbers according to different countries. And this is for Austria, Belgium, I think so. FW is for US, I think. So in this way we can give routing numbers. So if I give this one, I have to give 9 numbers maybe. But if I give something like Austria, I might have to give 6 numbers only. So it depends on country to country. If you select the routing number type accordingly, you have to give the number. So bank accounts. So normally bank accounts have routing numbers. Bank groups generally have different. And bank groups doesn't really have any routing numbers. Bank accounts have different routing numbers according to the area it is in, or I mean, if according to the bank we have routing numbers, but it's not specific to bank group. So I'm just avoiding it here. I'll just say none. Okay, there is no need of giving routing number if I say none. Then I can add address to a bank group if I want to. But you can add address to the individual banks also that you're gonna create later. So that's our next step to create. So address if you give, so I can have ICICI bank accounts, one in Amirpet, one in Bangalore, one in Hyderabad. I can say it can be in multiple areas. So I can't specifically give one address to the bank group. So I'm just avoiding it too. Then I can give the company ID. The company ID means your company ID registered in the bank group. They'll give a unique company ID to you. So to be printed on your bank document. So that can be given here if the bank gives you a unique company ID. Then currency. So in which currency you particularly deal with in this bank. You say US dollar or anything. I'll take US dollar. So you might have foreign currency banks also, which you use generally for trading in other currency. So for that, you can give another currency if you want to. And for individual banks also, you can give. So this is a bank group it. And then you have certain codes that you can give, like Swift code, suffix, and drawer. So these are something that suffix of the bank and the code of drawer given by the bank. So if you have any drawer or desk in the bank, and if you have that code, you can give it here. If you have Swift code is generally also a code that's like an IFSC code only. In the foreign banks, we have this Swift code option. But in India, we have IFSC code. Normally, IFSC code details are filled in the Swift code field in India. The practice is so. We don't have a separate column for IFSC code in the banks. So we'll normally fill our IFSC details in the Swift code. Then we have some contact information. You can give some contact information of which person to be contacted, his telephone number, extension numbers, his mobile number, his address details. You can give here. Contact person in the bank. Then reconciliations. So we have a separate methods of reconciliations, like we have manual reconciliation and advanced bank reconciliation. So this is specifically with advanced bank reconciliation. If advanced bank reconciliation is being used, then you normally import a statement from outside into the Dynamics, so that will read the transactions from the statement and reconcile it automatically. So if you are using that method, it will, I mean, you can give it here for the entire group, or you can give it for each bank separately. So that is also there. So I'm not giving it here. So that's how we can create a bank group. I'll create one more as SBI group, and I can save it. That's how. So here we have an option called as update bank accounts. Normally this update bank accounts works in a different way. Suppose if I created 4 bank accounts and linked all of them to bank group ICICI, let's assume, and here I gave some Swift code. Here I gave some Swift code and click on update bank accounts. Means the Swift code that I give here will be updated on all those 4 bank accounts which are linked to this group. So that's how it works. If I update an address here and click on update bank accounts, then this address will be copied to all the 4 bank accounts that are associated to this bank group. The same way all other details are also copied into the bank accounts usually. Currency details and other small details that you mention here will be copied to the bank accounts that are linked to this bank group. Most of them doesn't do that because they have different details for different banks, so they'll follow the same for maintaining on their bank accounts. So this is how you can create your bank group. I'm stopping it with the 2 groups. So let's move on to the next step, how we can create bank accounts, cash and bank management. So to create bank accounts in the cash and bank management, we have the first menu here itself, bank accounts and bank accounts. Cash and bank management, bank accounts and bank accounts. Click on bank accounts. So it's empty here. I don't have a bank account. It's an empty account that is created. Just delete it. So now it's empty. Now let's create one new bank account number. It is asking. I can give manually. I'll just give it as ICICI 1, or I can give ICICI Hyderabad, my wish, or ICICI fixed deposit account, ICICI current account, ICICI current account 1, or you can give the account number also, ending number, and to differentiate it. So I'll say ICICI 8247, which means the bank account number ends with 8247. So the bank account number I can give here. So it's like 789568247. That's all. So that there will be unique maintaining here. So 8247 is the bank account ending number. So I just gave that numbers here for the purpose of showing it as a unique bank. So this is one kind of practice that they do. Or they can give like ICICI 1, ICICI 2 anyway, ICICI Hyderabad, ICICI Bangalore. It's up to them how to differentiate it. Okay, then you can give your routing number here again. Here routing number type, you can say none or any other routing number type. So you can select anyone and you have to give that number of digits here. Suppose if I select FW and if I am giving 5 digits and save it, it says main account must be filled in. Yeah, this is one compulsory field that we have to fill in actually. We'll come back to this point of routing again. So for each bank account, we have to link a main account, as you can see at this field. So and you should not do any manual transaction to that main account. So whenever the bank will get debited, that main account will get debited in the general ledger. And in the trial balance, the balance of that account will increase. Whenever that bank gets credited, that main account will get credited and the balance in the general ledger will get decreased for that main account. So that's how the link to the bank and main account work. Without linking a main account, bank does not work. Okay, it's a compulsory configuration. So for this purpose, I'll just create one main account. So for each bank, you have to give different main accounts. So one bank, one main account. That's all. For if you create another bank, you have to give another main account. So I'll just give another account here, like 1 lakh, 100, 6 digits, right? ICICI 8247 bank. Asset account. Save it. Go back. Yes, in the same account here. Yes, it is. It's showing two. It should show only one. ICICI 8247 bank. Now I can give a name here if I want to. Like, okay. Current account. Save it here. So that's how bank details are saved. CI bank account code is created and bank name is created ICICI current account. And this routing number is accepting anything actually, and I'll just give as none and remove this routing number since I don't require it. But in US, they definitely have routing numbers. In US, Canada, and few European countries, they have these routing numbers. So you have to maintain them. Then main account, since I gave this main account, so we'll see how this main account will get affected as and when we do transactions with the bank. So I gave the name. The next selection is bank group. So which bank group you want to select for the bank. It's not a compulsory thing that you have to select bank group, but you can select this ICICI group here. Then currency of the bank, it's US dollar only according to our accounting currency. If you want a foreign currency to be maintained, you can change it to foreign currency. If you maintain foreign currency means the transactions, it is in the perspective that you will do foreign currency transactions with this bank, and all the time that you receive and pay or with that foreign currency only through this bank, or by default the foreign currency will be picked into the journal whenever you select this bank. You can override it if you want to. So allow transactions in additional currencies. Suppose here I am selecting US dollar, and if I enable this parameter, it will allow the transactions in other currencies also. I mean, I can do foreign currency payments also through this bank, or foreign currency receipts also. But if I disable this one, I have to do transactions only in US dollar using this bank account in any journal. I can only use US dollar. If I use any other currency, it will not allow me. So, but if you enable this parameter, it will allow transactions in additional currencies. In the same way, if you select any foreign currency here, and if you are going to do a transaction in the local currency using the bank account, it will not allow until and unless you enable this parameter. It will not allow to do transactions in other additional currencies. So this is one parameter that guides it. Then you can keep this bank account inactive for some time or active for some time. You can say from November 1st to November 30 only. Means after November 30, this bank account will temporarily get deactivated, or no user can use this bank account, or post transactions use this bank account. So it's a kind of expiry time we can give. So if you feel that in future you are going to stop this bank account, you can give that future date at which the at which the bank account should get inactive or get deactivated automatically. So that after that, no user can post any transaction into this bank account, or it will not allow to post such transactions. It will stop you. So that's how. I'm just removing this active. So now what is the bank account status? Is it active for all transactions? Active for new transactions? Inactive for all transactions? Inactive for new transactions and inactive for all transactions. Active for all transactions means it is now active and you can post any kind of transaction using this bank account. Inactive for new transactions means suppose there can be some old transactions which you have created. So using this bank account, you might have created and they might be in draft which are ready to be posted. So for those transactions you can post. But for now, if you from now, if you are going to create any new transaction in which you are going to use this bank account, it won't allow you. So previously created transactions or designated payment journals, you can post them where the bank account is used. But inactive for new transactions means anything new that you are creating using the bank account from now, you can't post it or it won't allow you to create such transactions. So because it shows that in bank account is inactive from now, or inactive for all transactions means you can't post neither the old transaction that you have saved nor the new transactions. You can't post anything. So that's how you can give conditions. So I'll just keep it as active for all transactions for now. Then you have credit limit option. So credit limit, you can give credit limit like how much credit limit bank is allowing you. Like to take the overdraft, you can say 50,000 is the credit limit that bank is allowing you. Sorry, minus 50,000. Up to minus 50,000 overdraft, bank allows me to take the overdraft. So that's how if that is exceeding, the overdraft is exceeding, user cannot post a transaction. It says that your overdraft balance with the bank is exceeding or the credit limit is being exceeded, so it can't proceed further. Up to minus 50,000, bank allows me the overdraft. Or if bank doesn't really allow me any overdraft, I can say 1. So it will stop with that credit limit itself. Or I can say 0.01. If you give 0 again, it won't act. It won't really act as anything. It doesn't really consider any credit limit. But if you give this one, it will consider the credit limit until here 0.01. No credit limit at all. Kind of. If you give 0 normally, doesn't really consider 0. Which explains like there is no credit limit. You can do any negative transactions or you can make any payments or feels like any overdraft is allowed. But that's not correct, right? So I can say something like 0.001 or 0.1 so that it will stop it there itself. It's not considering that one also. I'll say 0.01, at least 1 cent. So it's considering. So that if I'm exceeding that, it says that credit limit is being exceeded. Means you are going overdraft, pay the money that you have in bank. Don't go for overdraft. Then we have some details of positive pay. Positive pay is normally in other countries, not so famous in India. So you can give a payment format for the positive pay and the payment start date of the positive pay here. So other than this, we have something else like you can give all the bank details and codes if you have anything unique according to specific countries, like SWIFT code, IBAN number, and your company ID registered with the bank, a post account, sort codes, ESR codes, VSR account number, BSCR ID number, something you have, direct debit number, clearing number. So you can give this all additional identification. All these are not compulsory, but you can give them. In case of for preparation of some reports or for electronic payment, sometimes these reports are necessary. So if your client give you all these details about their bank accounts, you can just place them in the fields. If they say they don't have or they don't want to maintain, forget it. Nothing to configure here in this place. Again, you have payment management. Discounting maximum was something we have. Maximum remittance of discount that is granted for current bank. And suffix drawers. Pre-notes is one of the process where you have this mostly used in European countries, this pre-note process. Then the zero accounts bank code. If at all there is any non-sufficient funds in the bank, non-sufficient funds means if you give a bank and if the check bounces with non-sufficient funds, you might have to pay some charges to the bank. So which charges you want to use here? The charges group you can give that we normally create in the accounts payable module, the charges group, and we can link it here later. NSF payment journal, you can create one journal as non-sufficient fund payment journal and you can link it here. So that anytime when we have non-sufficient funds and we might have to pay charges to the bank, and that would be posted with this journal. So suppose when you can't maintain minimum deposit value, or when you does not have sufficient funds and you issue a check and it get bounced, so bank will collect some charges. So for posting such kind of charges and fees, you can use one journal here as NSF payment journal. So by default, it will consider for payment of such fees. Then this one, reconciliations actually. So reconciliations. Here we have two methods in reconciliation. One is manual reconciliation, another one is advanced bank reconciliation. So if you opt for advanced bank reconciliation here, you can say it as yes. But if you opt it once, you have to follow the advanced bank reconciliation only. So I'll say the difference between both manual reconciliation and advanced bank reconciliation later during the reconciliation class. But here it looks so, and all these fields are grayed out. But once you enable this one, all these fields are available. But I'm not going to enable it for this bank. I'll enable it for a different bank to just demonstrate you how the advanced bank reconciliation works. Then for the negotiable instruments, you can give this fee journals and collection amounts and a remittance account. So this is for non-negotiable instruments in the sense promissory notes and bills of exchanges. So very rarely they'll use this promissory notes and bills of exchanges in Dynamics. Normally they use it outside and they can record normal transactions. But here in Dynamics, it supports the various steps involved in promissory notes and bills of exchanges. Like there is some 10 configuration that you have to do almost, the multiple steps of processing a promissory note and bills of exchange we have here in Dynamics. So for that we have this menu. You can give this collection account, discount account, remit account and all. And then you can give your bank address here where your bank is located. You can add an address. You can add only one address for the bank account. So I can say ICICI. Current account. Where it is located, I can give some details here. If I can give like it's in USA, right? I can give USA details, or if I feel like it is in India, I can give my India details like India left branch, Gachibowli, India. Just keep it as okay. That address will reflect here. Let's up. You can change the address if you want to. Anytime you can edit it. Then you can give the details of the contact person in the bank. So if you have any particular contact person, you can give his name, mobile number, or email address, SMS details, and all you can give here. And you can give default financial dimensions to the bank account. Suppose if you feel that business unit Hyderabad has to be assigned, on whenever you use this bank account, always Hyderabad unit should appear. You can give this one. And terminal, we have given advanced role, right? Terminal. So I can see this here. Fourth, the financial dimension. So this is how I can create a bank account. ICICI 8247. So if I go back, I can see the bank account here. I can also see the bank details. So here you can see balance. Click on balance. Balance is zero because we did not make any transaction yet. You can click on transactions to see the bank transactions. It is also empty because we just created the bank. So you can have other details also here. We'll discuss further. I mean, after and then going ongoing classes. So we'll discuss all of them. Now I'll create one more bank account. So I'll call it as SBI 208 something kind of. I'll just give the number. I'll give a number like 123450008. Main account. I'll create another main account for the SBI bank account. Create NIF. Like 110. I'll just give it SBI 0008 bank asset account. Save it. Copy it. Go back. Save here. So I just gave a name for it again. As in the bank group also for this, like SBI group. Here. Currency. Here currency is automatically gone because when you created this SBI group, you did not mention any currency in the group. So it's not taking any currency even here in the bank also. So you can mention a currency here, like the same US dollar. And allow transactions in additional currencies. Okay. And rest all details are not so compulsory. You can give any like business unit if you want to, or if you don't want, you can leave it aside. So that's how you can create bank accounts. So for this bank also, I can see in the list now. I go and check the balance. Again, it will be zero. If I go out for transactions, again, it will be zero. I mean, no transactions yet. So that's how bank accounts can be created. Now, let's see how we can post some transactions into bank accounts. So using the bank accounts, how we can post any transactions. So let's say, let me go to general ledger module for making any transactions. So we have to make transaction in general ledger only. General ledger, general journals. It takes a while to load. We'll create a new journal for the purpose of posting it. So let's assume that I'm collecting some revenue. I'm saying this revenue journal. Okay, go to lines. So I'll select some revenue account here. Revenue account as 4 series accounts. Something like subscription revenue I'm receiving. I can select all these details if I want to. I'm not selecting any. So I'm just receiving some subscription revenue. So mostly in business, they'll select all the financial dimensions. Whatever we have, they'll select all the financial dimensions, or sometimes most of the selections are compulsory. They have to select compulsorily financial dimensions. So I just selected this and I'll give some credit value for this. Like I'm receiving 1 lakh revenue. 1 lakh. And ledger account here, offset account. Offset account, I'm taking it as bank account. So how to select a bank account in the journal means here you select the offset account type. Offset account type is by default ledger. Change it to bank here. Offset account type is bank and offset account is ICICI. Wait to you can see those two accounts, ICICI and SBI, in the list of the offset accounts. Once you select bank, you can see the bank account names actually. So ICICI and SBI. Two. You can select one like ICICI. Okay. Here you can select bank transaction type. What kind of transaction it is? As it's a receipt transaction, right? A deposit or check receipt, electronic receipt or UPI receipt, anything you can select. So I'll select this that I'm receiving this 1 lakh as a uh, electronic receipt, suppose. Okay, just electronic receipt, and I can give this details also. Payment reference actually I can give somewhere here in this place. I can give payment reference. Here I can give like electronic payment. I can give if there is any ID for the electronic payment like AP 586. I just give that payment reference here in the payment field. So this is how I'm receiving a revenue from a bank account. Suppose I can validate this. I think, see, for the bank account, you cannot give financial dimensions here. So just like for ledger accounts, you don't see financial dimensions following here. You have to give financial dimensions here. So for offset account, you can see that it is activated. Financial dimensions for offset account is activated. If you go in, you can see this cost center one and finance department also taken here from the main account. In the main account, you gave this, right? So same code is selected in the offset account also, bank account. So you can click on OK. Now you can validate this to see if there is anything missing. So journal is okay, nothing is missing. Now I can post this journal. So it is posted, as I can see. Now we can check the voucher, how it is posted into general ledger. So you have used a bank account, right? So let me show you the voucher, how it is posted. See, whenever you see any voucher, in the voucher you don't have any bank or vendor account, customer account like that. So you have that main account that is linked to the bank account or to the vendor and customer account. So here you can see subscription revenue account 4 lakh one is credited here as 1 lakh. But debited, what is debited? The main account that we link it to the ICICI bank. This one ICICI 8247 bank. That's what, right? We have linked it to this bank account here. 100 account number. Same 100 account number is considered to be debited here. So subledger accounts are different and the main accounts linked to them are different. So you will have same kind of balance in them, but they're different. So you don't have a bank account directly added into the trial balance, but a main account related to that bank will be affecting the trial balance. This one 100. So if you're doing debit for the bank rate, so it will be debited. If you do credit, it will be credited. So what you can do is you can go back to this bank account and you can make it as, so this one, do not allow manual entry, means somebody cannot use this main account for manual transactions in the general ledger, this main account. So it has to be debited and credited with the bank account only. Whenever you do any transactions with the bank account, then only it will get debited and credited. But when you use manually, it won't allow you to use manually. For this bank account also, I'll do it. So these are some kind of control accounts, like accounts payable, accounts receivable accounts also. We normally don't allow manual entries. So how that will work is I'll show you. I'll just save this one. Go back.
So this voucher is understood, right? I mean, for all of you, it is clear, right? How it's working. Then suppose if I create one more journal, just see here, create one more revenue journal, for example. Here I am using another revenue account, okay. Uh, Sales revenue, something like that. So I'm crediting it for some thousand. Here, suppose in the offset account, I'm going to use that direct bank account, not using bank account, but the main account related to the bank, like this one, ICICI. See here, as soon as I select, I see a warning here. Value is not allowed for manual entry. Enter another value. So if I, again, it shows here value 100, which is the bank account, is not allowed for manual entry. Enter another value, which means it will regulate the users from not to post direct transactions into the bank account, the account that you link it to the bank. So that is only for the bank account. Whenever you do transactions with the bank account, that will get affected. But when you want to select it manually or directly here in the journal, it won't allow you. So you can't go further with this journal. Suppose if I close this, select the bank account here and select my bank account ICICI, then that account will be behind this bank account. Now I can validate this. So I should give the bank transaction type also. I'll give it. So let's suppose I received some UPI. UPI receipt, right? I am receiving some revenue. So I can go to payment field and I can give some payment reference, anything. It's not compulsory that you can give UPI reference numbers like anything. Go and post it. It should post it, as you can see. Now you can see the voucher here, as you can see. Sales revenue account is credited, okay, and bank account behind the bank account. See this one, ICICI 8247 bank or 100 account is debited parallelly. That's up. If you click on transaction origin, it normally show you the bank account also here. So it shows what ledgers are used, what bank is used clearly in the transaction. Suppose if there is any vendor and customer also, it will show both vendor customer names here. So this is the bank name and this is the account behind the bank normally. So instead of this bank name, you got this account in the financial voucher. Okay, this is just a representation here. So the bank is debited. I mean, for the bank, the alias account of the bank, this one, 100 is debited to the trial balance. So that's how you can identify the voucher. That's how it will get debited and credited. So why you give this control for manual entry is that, see how much balance I have in bank, the same balance I will have in this bank account because the same debit and same credit I am doing to the bank, right? If somebody makes any manual entries for this account, then will be a difference between this account balance and the bank balance. That will not affect the bank. If you do any transactions to the main account directly, that will not post any balance in the bank. That will be posted only to general ledger. And you can see the amount differences compared to bank account and the main account. If you do any transactions with the bank account, since this account is linked to the bank account, you can see all the debits and credits reflecting in the main account directly. But if you are making any transactions to the account directly, you don't see that in the bank directly. Okay, because reverse linking is not there. For bank, you are linking the main account, but for the main account, you are not. Bank is you can't say that the account transaction that you do in the main account will get affected to the bank. So in the reverse linking is not there here. Now if I go back, see if I go back to the bank account, ICICI is here. If I click on balance, I can see 1 lakh 1,000. 1 lakh revenue transaction I posted, right? Plus 1,000 revenue transaction that I posted now. See, I see 1 lakh 1,000 clearly. Now if I go back to the trial balance here, calculate balances. So I can see this bank account here. Same, debited for 1,01,000 and closing balance is also 1,01,000. So it will be, both will be same. The bank account balance and the account linked to the bank account balance are same. But if I allow for manual entries and some user post any manual entry to this account, then the balances will vary here in the trial balance and that will not match with the bank account. So that will be a mistake again, or you might have to identify the balance mismatch went wrong, or why there are mismatches in the balance. So that is why we control this manual transactions for such accounts that we link to the subledger accounts. So now bank account is a subledger account. So to that we have linked a main account. So we will control or regulate users from using that main accounts for manual entries. That's how. So that's the balance that I can see in the bank account. Now I can see the transactions posted to the bank account. Here transactions. There are two transactions. Transaction on to the same date. Revenue journal number 13 and 14 vouchers you can see, and you can see bank transaction type here 6 and 8. So if you want to see all the UPI receipts like this one number 8, so you can sort it here. If you have some 100 transactions, if you want to see only the UPI receipts, you can say filter and you can say 08. So only the UPI transaction will show up. You can also filter it with using date from one date to another date, or you can filter it with your voucher number. Can remove the filter, or if you have any specific payment reference number, you can use it like this. So you normally have this UPI reference number, right? Once you make any payment in Google Pay or Phone Pay, you will get a transaction ID or reference number, so that you can copy and paste it here, like I have done earlier in the while posting the journal. So this is the electronic receipt ID or EP ID. If you might generated any deposit slip, you can see that here. Normally did not generate, right? So that is an option that is available in customer payment journal. I'll show you further. Check number, in case if any checks are used, you can see the check number here, but no checks are used or generated or paid. So I am not seeing any check numbers here. You can see currency, amount in transaction, currency, and reconciled. You see it is empty because we did not reconcile this transaction set. So once we reconcile them, you can see tick marks here, means indicating that these transactions are reconciled, but they are not reconciled yet. So just open transactions. This is how the bank transactions reflect. So if you want to check the voucher for this from the transactions, you can click here. It will take you back to the same voucher. Sales revenue account credited, 100 bank account debited. That's all. You can also check the invoices. If you have made this particular payment against any invoice or received this payment against any sales order invoice or free text invoice, you can see that invoice details also, but it's not against any invoice, so I don't see anything here. But if you receive this payment against a customer invoice, I can see that invoice details also here. So that's how we can check the bank transactions. You can sort them out if you want to, if there are multiple transactions. So I can also see the selection, reconcile transactions. I reconcile nothing here, right? So I see empty. Unreconciled transaction, these two are unreconciled. So I see them under unreconciled selection. All transaction means all of them. That's how we can make some receipt to bank. We can also post one more transaction to SBI. Just show you as an example 1 second. So, or I can make a payment transaction also. Like that's okay. I'm making revenue journal again and go to lines, receive some money into my SBI bank. So I'll select a ledger account as subscription revenue. Again, I'll credit this account for 50,000. And how to select a bank account here? Select bank and select the offset account as SBI. Okay, what kind of bank transaction type it is, you can say like it's a kind of UPI receipt only. Once again 50,000. So go to payment and you can give a payment reference number here in this place, or you can add that field of payment reference here also. So how to add that field, I'll show you. You can right click here personalize over grid view, add a field, takes a while, just be with it. So you can find the payment reference number here, or you can search for the field here. Payment contains payment. So what all that contains payment I can see here. Payment reference is here. So I'll select and click on insert. So it will be inserted here. Payment reference. You can move it also if you want to. You can move this field this side, this field this side anytime. Anything you can do it. If you want to move this field, you can click on personalize payment reference. Personalize this form. So here you have the option of movement actually. I think this one. You can. No, it's not moving in this way. There is an option called click on Alt, left arrow, left arrow, left arrow, left, and enter. So you see the payment reference is here now. If you want it to move little, so let me close this one. And this is here payment reference. Where is the transaction type? Here it is. I'll just move the bank transaction type also beside the payment reference. So I can right click, personalize this form, select this one, click on this, select Alt, left arrow. You can see this yellow color mark here. Left, enter, close it. So I can see payment reference and bank transaction type side by side here now. I can give a payment reference like UPI 5623 something. That's how I can insert a field and move it to the left and right or place it anywhere that I want. Not only this, you can change any menu in any place. Suppose in this menu, if I want to move anything, I can also move it from one place to another place. That's easy. Or you can insert anything extra from extra here or remove anything from here. Suppose if I want to remove this one from here, I can go to personalized exchange rate. I can hide it. So it's gone. I can again add it if I want to. I can go to personalize, go to add field, and I can add it once again. That works. Not only in this form or in this line, anywhere or here also you can make changes if you want to. So I'll just validate it. It's okay. Now I can post it. Post it. I can go to bank account, refresh it, select the SBI bank account, go to balance, see 50,000 in your bank account. Perfect. So if you go to transactions in the SBI bank, you can see this transaction type, reference number, amount of transaction. So this is how we can post transactions, balances, balance control option we have. So balance control is a functionality I showed you earlier. So you can see the balances of those accounts which are booked into journal. What is the existing balance in that account? How much they are booked into any journal? What after posting that journal? How much balance will be there in the bank account? Like that. For ledger accounts, we have to give them as separately as balance control accounts. In the option here, we have balance control accounts. But for bank accounts, by default, they will be the balance control account. Suppose if I select this bank account, click on balance control. Not only this account, I can see all the bank accounts. See for this bank, I can see here bank. So before the journal, it is 50,000. and there are no transactions. So after the journal also it will be 50,000. Transactions means anything that is where this bank account is booked in or just selected and saved somewhere. If you have selected this bank account and debited and saved it somewhere, not posted it. So then I can see that transactions amount here. Since we did not save it, I don't see anything here. So before the journal it is 50,000 and after pending journals also it will be 50,000 because in no pending journal this bank account is selected. That's one. And then I have this SBI bank account. For this also I can see the balance control. The same 1,01,000 balance I have not booked in any transactions. So after those transactions also it will be 1,01,100. Suppose if I book it in any transactions, let's say if I click new, go to some revenue journal, suppose go to lines. So if I book it in the for another revenue, let's assume subscription revenue. I'm booking it for another 1,500 suppose, and selecting the bank account here, bank, offset account as SBI, ICICI Bank suppose, and save it. Okay. Now if I go here, close this form, select the bank account again, and if I click on balance control again, see here, before the journal it is 1,01,000 and it is booked for debit of 1,500 in one of the journal that we have done now. So now if I post that journal, it is showing after the journal it is 1,02,500 after posting the journal. So this is before posting the journal. So that's up. This 1,500 is booked here, right, in the journal. So it is showing that how much amount it is booked. So normally it will show the consolidated amount. If it is booked in 4-5 journals for debits and credits, so it will consolidate all of them and it will show that consolidated balance here. So after posting all those journals, it assumes that bank account balance will be this much. That's up. Then I have reconcile. So you can reconcile the bank account, which will be our later topic in the course, how to reconcile and how to do that. Then I have manage payments and setup. So manage payments means you can make direct customer payments, vendor payments, and other remittances from here itself. And you can create some checks also here. So before we create checks, I'll just show you how to set up a check. Here I have the option of check setup or check layout setup. So in the setup under layout, I have check here. So select the bank account under setup. I have layout check. So I can select the check layout. Here in the check layout, I can give some details. So this is a topic, so it doesn't really cover up in 10 minutes or 5 minutes. So we'll discuss it tomorrow.